Hi guys, I'm John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. Today we've got 100 Bullets 49, Jack and the Tiger. The conclusion, 48 was done a couple months ago and it is posted to the playlist. I hope that's one of the ones that was at least flat here against the board. It might have been me holding it up for all I know. I didn't go back and reread it again, so I'm kind of catching up on what happened through this one. But first, we've got the World Fantasy Tarot card, Justice, the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie make a huge appearance in my comic book with Ashley right here. This is Ashley Fox, Ninja Babysitter, the last Valkyrie, or the newest Valkyrie. But yeah, so this is my comic. It's out here in the description as a PDF. You guys can check it out. Starring Valeria Vigdiskaya, which means Battle Angel. And yeah, you guys could check it out if you want. Ashley Fox, Ninja Babysitter, the last Valkyrie. So I love comics, and this is part of why. And I love art. Music was beyond me. I learned how to play a bit of guitar, and what I noticed would happen was that my mind would start to enjoy the music and forget what to play next. Because you got to be able to balance those two things. So I never got past that part. And for a long time, I was never able to feather foot my front foot on the skateboard, and I didn't get past that until I tried, and then I did. So we also have Conflicted, deck 4, card 3 of spades. And I'm going to read this to you guys. It's a long one, but it's worth it considering today's comic. You are face to face with the murderer of your family. The assassin is bound at your feet. There is no government or anyone around to stop you from doing whatever you want with the person who killed your loved ones. You both are inside a barn. You have a few tools at your disposal, such as a knife, hay forks, pigs, horses, ropes. What would you do to the person who murdered your family if you were in this situation? Would you show mercy? One thing I've learned about myself, being an author and an artist, and at this point rather old, I've learned that I'm not a sadist. I'm certainly not a sadomasochist, but I'm not a sadist either. I don't take pleasure in causing other people pain. I do think some people should be eliminated from the face of the earth, or at least driven out of white civilization. But I don't take joy in causing other people pain or watching other people cause other people pain. I don't like those really gruesome horror films. I'm not especially fond of the sight of blood, although when I get hurt and can power through it, that gives me an element, a source of pride. You know, when you go down skating and you're bleeding and you get up and do it again because you can, that's cool. But I'm not into hurting people. So what would I do? And they say that this guy's an assassin. He's probably just a murderer. An assassin is something very special. An assassin is a hired killer who usually takes out influential people. Your family's not influential people. This is just a common criminal who was out to steal something and got caught and killed some people. And I would do what is most expedient, the quickest. Strangulation is good because you don't spill any blood. So maybe that. Probably it doesn't say you have a gun, but many a slip twixt the cup and the lip, as they say. So probably a knife to the throat or a knife to the temple, and that would be it. Justice. It would be justice. Let the choosers of the slain come and take the worthy up to Valhalla for the final battle, Ragnarok. Let them introduce them to the Einherjar, the great warriors who train with Odin until the last days. 100 Bullets 49, Jack makes the cut. So now if you guys remember from yesterday, Garvey here has 2 girls. He's married to Mary, but he's also banging this 19-year-old named Wendy. Mary is up in the house getting ready to entertain these guests from Philadelphia, some connected Italian mafiosos, and she hears a lot of gunshots way too close to the house. So she goes running out to see what's happened with a flashlight from their trailer or small house down the hill, finding Mikey wounded, or apparently wounded, shining a flashlight on him. Oh, Mikey, 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 oh my God. He says, it's not my blood. Garvey, where's Garvey? Oh man, Garvey. Look at this. Look, this is right out of a 1950s film. Is that Scarlett O'Hara from whatever that big movie was, Gone with the Wind? What a great shot. Eduardo Risso really loved drawing this comic. It's nothing but fun. My complaint is that there's about 6 too few pages. There's a whole scene that gets cut out for space. I think we could have at least gotten 2 more pages of action, but you'll see what I'm talking about coming up. So this is from Mary's point of view. She runs down the hill, finds Garvey sitting there by the cages. He's alive. The Italian mafioso guys are not. They've been shot. The tiger, now maybe one tiger was killed and one survived. That tiger looks dead. And I think at least one tiger was killed. But I don't remember because I didn't go back and reread number 48 today. Anyhow, Jack is laying there with a tranquilizer dart in his shoulder. Now, Jack is a big drug user, and he is well accustomed to the effects of ketamine. So you could say he's built up a tolerance. And Mary's asking, what happened? Oh my God, what happened? Garvey starts to explain. Mikey shot a couple of these guys. I know Jack fired some rounds at them. I think he must have hit at least one of them. Now, in this one, it says there's only 3. I sort of remember there being more than that, but maybe there was only 3. Jack killed at least one, a really big fat dude. I know he killed at least one. And Mikey gets the gun, shoots these other 2 guys. Now, I'm presuming that this is Jack's gun with the magic bullets that cannot be traced, or that will not be traced, that will give the shooter an instant pass when it comes to law enforcement. And I never knew there was an Alias game. I didn't watch this show when it first came out, but I did watch it later. It is an awesome show. I loved Jennifer Garner in that show. It was very cool that she got the Electro movie after that. It's too bad she got stuck with Ben Affleck, who seems like a shitty person, but whatever. Alcohol fucks a lot of people up. So Mikey now gets grabbed by one of these guys who's been shot and presumably vomits a whole bunch of blood onto Mikey's shirt, and Garvey finishes him off. That's one bullet that cannot be forgiven or bypassed by law enforcement. That's one bullet that will get traced. So these guys have a problem. Garvey and Mikey and Wendy now have 3 dead made men on their property, and other people knew where they were going. They were going to get a tiger coat, a tiger rug, a tiger blanket, whatever you want to call it. And they have to figure out what to do. Garvey tells Mary, take this cash, get out of town, you have to leave me. She says, I'm not leaving you, that's insane. Yes, you are, there are no happy endings here. Mikey is trying to figure out what to do too. This is the guy that Jack shot. I remember him. So Garvey is, with his bad, Lincoln stash and goatee, he is calling it quits on his marriage with Mary because these Italian mobsters are gonna come and find him. Mikey's checking on Jack to see that he's still alive. I did notice the Hush ad yesterday where Batman had treads on his boots but no laces, so Jim Lee only got halfway there. I didn't call it out, but whatever, I'm calling it out now. Anyhow, Garvey's explaining, this is exposition. What's going on right here is for guys like me who haven't read the previous comic, this is a scene where Garvey exposes to the audience what's happening. They restate it. There's a saying when it comes to writing: tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. Repetition works. As Robert Downey Jr. says in Natural Born Killers, repetition works. You think any of those nitwits out there in zombie land remember what they see? No, they don't. So you got to tell them what you told them, and tell them again. Tell them what you're going to tell them. And yeah. So Mikey says, wait, how much do these big cats eat? And they have figured out a way to deal with all this. They're going to strip the bodies, cut them up, and feed them to the tigers. It's a good plan. It could work. It could work if a couple of the other characters who poked their heads in earlier in this 3-issue story didn't poke their heads in again. Because while they're getting ready to do this, they get interrupted. They're about to cut everyone up with the chainsaw. Garvey doesn't want Mary to do it. Give me that, Mary. I don't want you doing this. Don't do shit, Garvey. So they get interrupted by Garvey's partner, the local Sheriff Shithead, who got called out because of the gunshots. People heard them and called the police. And so now the police have arrived, and he's got to take action about this. He does not like Garvey's plan, because now the report has to go into the official record books. Something has to happen. They start an argument about what's going to happen, but Bill here has his own plan. He says what we're going to do is we're going to drag these guys out to the highway and make it look like a carjacking, and he shoots Mikey. He says we're going to blame the people who caused this mess in the first place, Mikey and Jack. And Garvey's telling Mary it was a wild animal, meaning Jack was the wild animal who did all this shit. So presumably Mikey is now dead. And this is Bill's plan. They're going to drag the bodies and the cars out to the freeway or out to the highway and make it look like a carjacking gone wrong. Now he's going to have to fudge the reports, because crime scenes, it's always easy for police to tell when a crime scene has been staged by the volume of blood, the bullet casings, all that sort of stuff. To match this to how it really happened would be next to impossible. They have to get distances right. The ballistics, the crime scene investigators, as we all know from the show CSI, can tell through the ballistics investigation just how far the guns were when they were fired, from the impact, from the burn patterns on the skin or lack thereof, etc., etc. So this guy's got a plan when Wendy shows up from her trailer up the hill. She has now seen this sheriff. She is presumably a witness to this sheriff shooting Mikey. The sheriff jumps to the conclusion that she must die too. And that's when shit really goes south again, or haywire, as it's said. He grabs her. He's getting ready to strangle her to death when Jack wakes up and changes the power dynamic by a lot. Now, this is my complaint. I want to see what happens next. I want at least 2 pages of what happens next, but we don't get that. It would be nice to see the sheriff take a beating. Right after I said I'm not a sadist. It would be nice to see the sheriff take a beating. But we cut to the seashore, the seagulls. Mikey's alive. He's wounded. He says his shoulder hurts like a rotten tooth. And we get a bit of dialogue. So there's at least one tiger left. This is presumably the one that was not shot, that was in one of the other cages that we didn't see. And Jack is going straight. Mikey's staying high because Mikey's fucked up. Mikey's going to be high for a while with that kind of pain. You know, my eye for the past 2 weeks the whole right side of my head has just been a constant blazing fire of pain, especially after I wake up in the morning because I have to sleep on my stomach, which means one side of my face is in a pillow, which offsets your jaw, which just, fucks all those muscles up. I wake up and my neck has to crack like 6 or 8 times before I feel right. It hasn't been fun, and I have seriously considered buying a bottle of whiskey, buying some beers. I did indulge in some Advil, but that's the extent of my pain relief, and I'm happy for that. I'm glad I didn't go any further than that because I do not like being hungover. I do not like what it does to my emotional equilibrium. Alcohol really fucks me up. So anyhow, Jack lets the tiger go, and Mikey's worried it isn't going to fuck up a jogger. That tiger's going to get in trouble. It's not going to go well for him. And Jack points out that, yeah, but until it goes bad, it's going to be good. And that's better. That's better than living life in a cage. I sure can't, not that I've lived life in a cage, but that sure sounds good to me. I sure can't agree with that. So Mikey says, I'll look you up when I get straight. Jack doesn't believe that for a second. Here we get an explanation about what happened. Garvey shot the cop in the knee. The cop was out here apparently attempting to bury the bodies. How this is going to get explained, no one knows. But what's going to happen, they cut off the one guy's head that Garvey shot with the rifle. So as soon as the cops find this, because it's magic bullets, it's going to get swept under the rug. Now, this cop didn't know that. Garvey didn't know that. They probably don't believe it even now. But when it does get swept under the rug and everything goes back to normal, minus the cop walking with a limp, that's the best outcome for everyone. Of course, Mikey didn't necessarily believe it either. He wasn't going to convince Garvey that Jack has a magic gun with magic bullets. Jack probably couldn't convince him of that either. This is just what they did. They had to do this before morning. So Jack tells Mikey to thank Garvey for letting him set the tiger free. Obviously, Jack did get his arm ripped up when he stuck it in the cage at the end of 47 and the beginning of 48. And Jack is on his own. He's got the briefcase. He's heading for Atlantic City. And they have a little back and forth about Atlantic City's full of losers. And Jack is going to fit right in. So all's well that ends well, or exactly as it should have. And that is 100 Bullets 49. Jack is heading towards the city. The tiger's heading towards the, presumably the Pine Barrens. I don't know where those are, though. I'm sure the tiger's going to be just fine. At least for a couple days. Be eating some seagulls, maybe some fish, maybe some rabbits. But there we go. 100 Bullets 49. Jack's got a tiger heart. And, all right, see you guys tomorrow.